Hey everyone, welcome to hmm, a semi-rare PGN Live. Okay, not to say troubleshooting, but I am experimenting here, hearing what my voice is like and how much of a delay after when I talk to when I hear it. Okay, that's good enough. All right, so welcome to PGN Live. Is that the name of this show going forward? I don't know necessarily, but this is Paul Gale Network, and I am live, so it's good enough for now. Well, welcome. Last time I did one of these, there were quite a good amount of people in here. Gosh, what was the event? Why did we do it? Was it in anticipation of Donkey Kong Bonanza's release? No. Oh, it was the birthday stream. That's right. Dang. It is August 6th, and my birthday stream was July 7th. So I think several days before, like on July 2nd, I had a little birthday stream slash $20 Nintendo Switch slash Nintendo Switch 2 eShop gift card giveaway. And that was pretty fun. And there were a lot of you that showed up for that. I don't know how many are gonna pop up right now, and that's okay if there's not a lot of people coming here because the last one I gave notice of like a couple of days in advance on X and whatnot that hey, stay tuned for in a few days. I'll be going live. There'll be a little bit of a giveaway, Q&A, that kind of thing. And then later on, I went ahead and bam, dropped it live. Hello there, Andrew Francis. Welcome. So you're the first person here, the only person here, or maybe there are a few more that just people haven't commented yet and said hello, but that's okay too. Yeah. Oh, I'm here right now. Depending on how many people show up, this could last a little bit longer or could kind of fizzle out early. It's all good. Gannon fan, welcome. This is sort of an impromptu. You know what? I've got some time this afternoon. I'm kind of excited for tomorrow's Indie World Showcase. We first found out about it. I mean, at least I found out about it from, well, Nintendo's social media pages, yes. However, before then, Zach from Switch Force, who's a cool guy and runs a good channel over there on YouTube. Hey, J Views, how's it going? Good seeing you. And he said, "What do you hope to see tomorrow?" Oh, I'm going to get to that. I have a couple. He said, "Expect to see something soon." Usually, there's a Nintendo Direct, a big juicy one at the end, and sometime in the beginning, there is either this or a partner showcase. So something's going to happen next week, right in between. Hmm. Well, you're kind of left with a Nintendo Direct Mini or an Indie World presentations. Robbie Rains, hello, welcome. Yeah, J Views, the hype is real for tomorrow. I'm glad you're doing well too. Nintendo's All Stars. More people showing up. I have a feeling that if I was regularly hopping on, like every week, for instance, Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, etc., that people would maybe show up by the several at a time every week on Wednesday, or if it was multiple days a week at a time. So I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, I had a feeling. Pokemon Fan 34. Let's see. Mega Matt, Michael Gutmann. Welcome, everybody. Oh, Peach is in the kitchen. She's a good girl. She got good pets today, good outside time. It's kind of hot outside, so she's inside. Mario got a really good brushing today. He's a fluffy boy. I got so much loose hair off of him. I'm like, dang, how do you have So much hair that I got scoops and scoops and scoops, and like here's a clump, and brushes and brushes and brushes, and here's another clump over and over. And I did that yesterday a little bit, and he just has so much fluff today, man. Um, I don't have Peach planned with me right now, but maybe she'll make an appearance later on. I'm not sure. One moment. Okay, sorry. This is the season where they shed profusely. Oh yeah. Once the weather gets cooler, they'll stop shedding as much. Yeah. I mean, Peach is a pretty short-haired dog. Mario's a long-haired cat, but you know, given them both proper brushes does help out. Oh, well, where was I? Yeah, so we knew that probably this week, according to Zach, was going to be a Nintendo Direct Mini or an Indie World Showcase. I was thinking could go either way, but yeah, maybe Indie World Showcase would make sense because there are a couple of big titles on the horizon. And then that gets to the question, what do I think is going to pop up tomorrow? Or what do I want to? I guess it's a think and a want, two in one, and I'm going to go with Hades 2. Hades 2 doesn't have a release date yet on Nintendo Switch 2, but it did pop up at the Nintendo Direct, and I did play it at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in LA, gosh, a few months ago already, and it was already looking polished. So the game is at a pretty high level of completion at this point, and maybe it's just refining things, but no big meat and potatoes like, oh, we've got to finish up the story or we have to find a voice actor to fill in this role or do some advanced world building. No wireframe work at this point, like that game's almost done. If it shows up tomorrow, I think you're all in for a treat. And if you haven't played the original Hades, then I would say, gosh, do yourself a favor and check out Hades on any platform. I played it on Nintendo Switch back in 2020, dang, 5 years ago almost, and it was terrific. It was my game of the year, and that was a hot year. Let me read the comments. Witchbrook and or Fields of Mysteria better show up. Mm, oh, you got a nice. You got the 512 gigabyte micro SD express card coming tomorrow. That's good. See, I knew I didn't want a 256 from the get go because I just knew these file sizes are so big that 256 isn't going to cut it for me, especially if I want to bring over all of or a good portion of my Nintendo Switch games onto Nintendo Switch 2, have new NS2 launch games, and slowly buy new Nintendo Switch 2 games. Like the 256 is going to get eaten up. Like day one, my base 256 was already full, and that was just with Mario Kart, because that was a digital one, Split Fiction, Street Fighter 6, Fast Fusion, Fortnite. I think that was it. And then like putting on Tetris 99 and experimenting with some Breath of the Wild and some Tears of the Kingdom, a little bit of Super Mario Odyssey. All these things are like, 500 megabytes at a time. Those quickly add up. Or, Nintendo GameCube NSO app and 64 app. A couple gigabytes here, several hundred megabytes there, all adds up. So I'm like, 512 would be my minimum, but I mean, I would love a 2 terabyte. That thing, I think, would last me all gen, but I need a terabyte because that's what I had on Nintendo Switch. And being a majority physical collector, but also buying some games intentionally digitally because I thought it would be a good thing to always have on the system, like Animal Crossing, for instance. I always had that on the system, and it was great because we played it a lot. Multiple people were playing it, but we always also played something else. So I was like, I like physical medium better, but it made good sense to get that one digitally. Splatoon 3 also digitally. Uh, Pikmin 4 and Super Princess Peach, or no, it was called Princess Peach Showtime digitally because that one was too good of a deal when I got mm, a couple of eShop gift cards as gifts, and it was this voucher program, I think, and like through that, dude, how could I pass on, $132 of gaming for $100 minus some eShop cards and like whatever? I just had to go digital, and of course, like if anything pops up digital only, well, I'm going to buy it. There's the thought of, well, do I wait 6 months or whenever when it eventually comes to physical? Maybe, but like certain Ninja Turtles titles, Power Rangers, Rita's Revenge, mm, Tetris Connected, geez, Hades, quite a few, plenty of games that, yeah, I just got digitally. And though the 1 terabyte mark never quite filled up, smaller cards beforehand did. Anyways, I'm going on a long talk. Maybe you are not interested at all on the reasoning behind why going for a terabyte now, but right now, simply put, it's a little bit too much money. I can't justify in good faith, in good principle of the matter, spending $200 plus, right? 215 or so. Half the cost of a Nintendo Switch 2, half the cost of a home console with a screen, with speakers, with the ability to connect to the internet, with two Joy-Cons that snap off, that have mouse mode, rumble technology in there, analog sticks, buttons for pressing, all of that, 450. Half that for this little thing right here that just stores extra games. The price valuation there doesn't seem right. One is a necessity. Well, if you want a game, you could argue that neither are a full necessity in life. Although for some of us real gamers, it's a necessity. We need gaming. That's our lifeblood, right? Uh, but you need the system to play games. It's a super convenient thing to have more storage space, but that cost is just not right yet. So I'm kind of doing an annoying playing refrigerator thing, deleting this, re-downloading that, and like I temporarily took Fortnite off of the Nintendo Switch 2 because I needed space for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Fortunately, Donkey Kong Bonanza was a physical cartridge for me, so that didn't take up any more space. But new games are going to be coming out soon. So anyways, yeah, nice on the 512. I'm glad you got it, and that's going to help out. I think Black Friday is going to be my attempt to hopefully find a nice 1 terabyte. And if I could get a nice terabyte card for $65, wishful thinking, I would snag that up in a heartbeat. Probably not realistic. So I'm going to say $90. $90 for a 1 terabyte card, I think would be worth the convenience despite not being something you need to have, because I think the ends would justify the means. All right. Woof. Let's get back to some talk. Let me read some comments. Good if you don't think you might need more than 512. Hopefully you don't. Yeah, Zach didn't deserve any negativity. I definitely say not. That's, if somebody is reporting on news or reporting on a rumor, and the rumor or the news is something that you don't like, and or depending on how you look at it, doesn't come out, there's no reason to get upset at that person. They're just supplying the info. They're commenting on it. That's what they're doing. You can make the argument of, well, where's their journalistic integrity to research more and to see, is it even worth scooping out? Well, that's also the context of the word. Hey, this is a rumor that's being shared by so-and-so outlet that I'm just sharing to you. Let's speculate. Let's have fun. Let's talk. Let's discuss. If it's right, boy, was it pretty cool knowing about it in advance. If it's not, hey, there are plenty of things in life to get excited over and to look forward to. So not that big of a deal if this thing didn't, pan out. And if you're supplying the information directly from you saying, hey, no, This isn't a rumor that I found from a source. This is actually happening. Go for it. Go for it. Doesn't mean to be gullible and listen to everybody, but you could still say, hey, it's not from Nintendo themselves. It's not from Capcom themselves putting it up on social media. So you could still kind of think of it as a rumor and that, well, what if the company changes their mind? What if the source was incorrect? What if something happens along those lines? Yeah, but no reason to get mad at somebody, in my opinion. Hmm. Let's see. Crazy Scoth, also here. Welcome. I try to say hi to everybody as you are all showing up. Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza really didn't take up a lot of space. Oh, well, and I got it physically, so even less. Mega Matt, treating your Nintendo Switch 2 like your Series S right now by deleting games every so often to free up space and download another one. LOL. Yeah. See, I'm almost done with Split Fiction. Honestly, I was playing it pretty regularly, getting close to beating it, I think, based off of where I am in the story with my wife. And my kids also have their own files. Like we all have our own file in the game, and we play with different kind of combinations: husband and wife, son and daughter, um, son and me, daughter and me, wife and kids. Like we're playing a lot of Split Fiction. Then Donkey Kong Bonanza came around. Split Fiction kind of went to the side for a bit, and right before Donkey Kong, I should say, was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. So Split Fiction has taken up like a massive 72 gigabytes. But I don't want to delete it yet because I know it's a game that probably without having some like online multiplayer component in terms of versus mode and new modes coming out, probably once you beat the story, once we all beat our story, we will still have our ownership, but no longer needed to have it like instantly accessible. There may come a time, a few months from now, for all I know, the game has, you know, uh, post credits, post content, and that would be cool. So maybe I don't want to get rid of it all of a sudden. But that's a game that I'll probably delete when we all have beat it to free up another 76 gigs. But eventually I'm going to want it back on, regularly to just hop in and play once in a while. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, the beat 'em up situation that, I saw this as we've had a couple of interactions over the years. He's a cool guy in my book, seems positive. Uh, very big in the YouTube community with a couple of million followers. It doesn't always equate directly that, hey, just because you have this many followers, this many contacts, so this many followers would mean this many contacts, making it more likely for someone to know somebody. But if you've been around long enough, been in enough partner programs, enough E3s, big enough of an audience, enough games that you've reviewed, connections that you make, photos of folks that are friendly enough to you that you could infer, maybe he doesn't, she doesn't, they don't know something from that person, but probably other people. You could assume, yeah, they're telling the truth. So, like I believe the beat 'em up Woods story and saying, yeah, probably there's something. And of course, then he came out later on and said it was actually a plan to do this and that, and uh, it was what it was. In the end, unrelated to what he said, we did get a Nintendo Direct in some capacity, so still something cool, even though, like I said, totally unrelated. Mm. Yeah, Split Fiction was really good. Hades 2, that's the big one for me tomorrow. And also, from way forward, I do expect that we will see Shantae's new game, because that's coming out towards the end of August 19th. Yeah, in 13 days. So, hey, Shantae Advance Risky Revolution comes out in 12 days. Maybe here's a demo, a little bit of a this amount percentage off if you purchase it now. We'll see. Of course, another big one that's on everyone's mind is Hollow Knight Silk Song. But since Microsoft seems to be putting in some good money into at least having some kind of marketing, advertisement, etc., on Hollow Knight Silk Song, Not like it's going to be an exclusive on Xbox anymore. No, that's not going to be the case. But they may have purchased the dibs for the first new reveal of the game in quite some time. So that could show up at an Xbox presentation before, a Nintendo one. And Boom Mini, I just saw you come in here, and right after I saw you come in, you just sent one Paul Gale Network gift membership. Thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate it. And Nintendo's All Stars was the recipient of that membership. So, congrats, Nintendo's All Stars. And thank you, Boom Mini, for your contribution. That was very nice of you to do, as you have done so many times now. I'm grateful for that. Joycey J, hello and welcome. I'm glad to see you here. Who else is here now? David Patterson. I saw you earlier, I think. Well, I think I saw you. Did I say hi? I don't know. I hope I did. Hi again, or hi for the first time, just in case. Gaming tips. Finally, tomorrow is my flight back to India after a month in USA. It was great. Great life experiences and meeting fun people, eating original things. Truly a great country. San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas. That's awesome. I hope you have a safe flight back to India. That's got to be a long flight, like 17 hours or something like that. Woo! Fly safe. I hope you have a Nintendo Switch 2 with you for that trip. Play some nice Donkey Kong Bonanza or Street Fighter 6 or something. Have yourself a Nintendo Switch original commercial, but live on the plane, That would be fun. Yeah, that's another reason why I buy physical. If I buy digital, forget about games I deleted, but physical, I see my collection I could pull out of any time. That's gonna suck the game key cards. I'm not against game key cards. I've always said it. I think they're a good alternate because it keeps the cost down for publishers, which is important. It helps them get more money. Not quite as much probably as pure digital because they have to pay for a box and a piece of plastic with a tiny little bit of data on it and have it be on a shelf at a Best Buy, Target, Walmart, Amazon distribution center, GameStop, etc. But I don't want game cards to only exist as an alternate. I want it to be in addition to, or be a substitute. Be an alternate, not a substitute. What I'm trying to say is don't let it be only game key cards and digital. Have a third option. Go with the old school route. Have the cartridge format. I do like seeing the recent Nintendo polls because it's exactly what I said these video game companies, Nintendo and third parties included, should do. Be transparent. Be honest with your community. Say, hey, what do you think of game key cards? Would you buy them over physical cartridge, over digital? What are the pros? What are the cons? What have you purchased? What things do you understand from them? I don't know if they asked in the survey, would you be willing to pay this much more for physical cartridge? But that's another important one. Hey, if you're just honest with your community, you know what? Game key cards help cost reduce certain things. Currently, we only have 64 gigabyte cartridges. We could do 32 gigabytes for certain titles, which would reduce the cost by $5, $7. Sometimes that's a big profit margin. Instead of losing 17 or 12, you're losing, 5 or 9 or 7 or like whatever it is. Or hey, the 64 gigabyte cartridges for now on, if a developer uses that and has that as a third option, it's going to be $10 more. They would need it to be probably like $15 more or even more than that to make it the same amount. But now you're getting into kind of high range. But that's why you pull people. That's why you talk to your audience and you see. Don't try to nickel and dime for as much as you can to squeeze every penny out. Be appreciative of the consumer, but also respectful to your business that like, dude, we can't just be charging the same amount because we're going to be eating into the profit so much. And it's not just, oh, well, you're $1 billion company, multi-million-dollar company. You could stand to lose that much. You also got to pack it. You also got to ship it out. There's also the retailer that's got to make some portion of it. We also spent X amount of years on it and have to pay all these people, and we still have to run the building and pay for people's insurances and the electric bill and all this stuff. And these people who work for us, their costs have gone up. We pay them more to make games these days, more than we paid them in the past. So it could be expected that physical costing a little more wouldn't be the end of the world. Just be the right amount. And I would probably, 9 times out of 10, buy the physical cartridge. It's my preference. Whew. Yeah, you get me talking on these cartridges. I'm telling you. Very excited for Hades 2, Witchbrook, possibly 1 or 2 more games. I think we'll see a total of 6 to 8 games presented tomorrow since it's such a short showcase. Yeah, it is only around 15 minutes, which tells me 17 and a half is going to be the total time. A cozy game, probably. Something big and unexpected, new. I could see that. The speculation me says, could there be a surprise Nintendo IP game made by an indie studio, kind of like Cadence of Hyrule back in the day? This doesn't happen often. I mean, you barely get like Tecmo Koei being in charge of Zelda property with Hyrule Warriors or Fire Emblem Warriors with the Fire Emblem franchise, right? Or Ubisoft with Mario and Rabbids, or Starlink with the Nintendo version having, Star Fox characters on Nintendo Switch, which is awesome. But could you see something like that tomorrow? Maybe. But I definitely think that something else is coming. Hi-Fi Rush? Hi-Fi Rush. Could it be an indie title? At one time it was. I had it to go from Xbox to Nintendo. Well, possible. Maybe. Jabo Thunder, welcome. Michael Gutman. So with game key cards, if I delete the game and in 20 years they shut down the server, am I not able to download it again? That's a good question. I don't know the full answer yet. I would like to think that they would still provide access to it because they understand that the industry is changing and they may feel compelled to do so, or hear so much from the community that they almost have to. That, yeah, probably. Nothing's ever guaranteed, though. I mean, cartridges could have some corrosion in it, batteries could expire, burst, save files could be lost, discs could be scratched, or have otherwise some sun-beaten plops on them. Digital file could get corrupted, internet could be out of whack, or a service to download may expire. Game key cards, you don't really have much data on the cart. Could it get messed up? Potentially. Is it more likely that the server side says, hey, no more downloading, than the cart side not reading? Probably. But I think there would be fair warning in advance. And by then, 20 years from now, micro SD express cards and all that stuff would go down in price. So you being able to secure these downloads and still have these game key cards to initiate that download, I think would become easier and easier, more and more tried and true way to maintain them, hold on to them. What if we don't have internet then and have to download games to our brains? Gosh, in 20 years? Huh. Man, I don't omit almost anything from happening anymore. Not to say I'm blindly believing anything, but I also have seen things that, whether it's video game wise, I never thought that this and this would happen. I never thought that Nintendo would sell half of Rare back to themselves, and that Microsoft would purchase all of Rare, or that Activision would be purchased by Microsoft for such a big amount, or that Sega would be making games for Nintendo consoles, or that Sonic the Hedgehog would actually be in a Super Smash Brothers game alongside Mario, or the two of them shared the marquee title in Mario and Sonic at the Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics, you know? So a lot of things are possible. Maybe games will be downloaded to our brains in 20 years. I mean, look at how fast AI is evolving. Not to say that it would be a good thing, but it would be a curious thing, and it's a possible thing. Let's say DC or Marvel, they fully own this graphic novel of Superman, this graphic novel of Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, whomever, whichever character franchise, any company. And they're like, scan this digital graphic novel, turn it into a 97-minute live action movie. Perfectly use AI to capture Superman's look as if he would be a real actor in Hollywood with the right height, the right weight, the right musculature, all zapped out of these digital files. Scan over all of the different colors that have been used in former Superman films, DC live action films, all of the different voice acting samples from all of the leading men that have played Superman all of the years, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, all that stuff. Create All Star Superman, create uh, Ultimate X-Men, first arc, whatever. And then AI, boom, do it. And then bloop, 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 bloop. Here's a soulless in terms of literally no human was involved in the acting, the voice acting, the camera work, the lighting, the boomstick operating, going on scene, people working at their desk, tiring over every little CGI detail, costume, wardrobe design, set design, nothing like that. But hey, this studio owns the IP, they own the product, they can just plop it in the IP, AI, sorry, and then 7, 12 years from now, you know, hour or so of buffering, and you've got yourself an 8K movie with not a single real actor, actress in it, but it is a, I guess you could say in some ways, perfect retelling that cost next to nothing of a famous comic book graphic novel, etc. Wow. Is that good or bad? Oof. More sketchy than not, taking away a lot of potential jobs. Curious though, yeah. You see how the people that play with AI a lot right now are making commercials that are making trailers for movies. And this is the relative infancy of that stage. 7 years from now, 20 years from now, who knows? And yeah, gaming is going to be so different 20 years from now, too. Crazy. Awesome stuff. Awesome to speculate and just to think up of everything. Could Professor Layton be coming? We saw Deca Police and Professor Layton before. Rhythm Heaven also, although that's Nintendo IP. So I would be very happy to see Professor Layton show up or Deca Police. Either one would be very cool. Dang, have AI describe a game. Nintendo taking too long to make the next Mario? Ooh, that's so crazy to think. Hey, AI tool, I want to relive Super Mario 64. Nintendo never made it completely HD, but I want you to use the following graphics from Super Mario Odyssey 3. Right, we're talking some years from now, whatever, and take that engine, take those gameplay mechanics, the physics, throw in orchestrated music on every Super Mario 64 soundtrack, every Super Mario 64 track, have the gameplay experience be the same, controls the same, modernize this element of it, and boom, make me a game. And I want to play that. Can't sell it, can't stream it, but you have some type of medium to play it on, you play it. Isn't that a wild thought? Oof. Oh no. I appreciate the human hours that go into game development. You know, that's the creative mind at work instead of using AI to just copy it. Although AI is getting sophisticated enough to create its own things, just give it a prompt. But still, will it ever be as good as human emotion? I don't know about that. Do you think you'll play Witchbrook or Yooka-Laylee? Witchbrook I'm a little bit less familiar with. Let me look up Witchbrook real quick. Oh, maybe. I remember seeing that. Yeah, that was cool looking. Maybe Witchbrook. Oh, Yooka-Laylee, probably. Maybe to both. Yeah. Yeah. Stardew Valley and Hogwarts had a baby. If you were able to create your own games in just a few minutes, asking AI, I feel like gaming would be less fun. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we get too spoiled. Maybe you never finish anything. Maybe you would feel not enough ownership or feel your dollar go to the ultimate use. That's, I think, a little bit of a problem with Xbox Game Pass as a model. It's great for playing a lot of variety. It's an affordable way to play a lot of variety. But when you have access to so much, though you are dipping your toes in more things, are you playing any of them to completion because you don't feel like I paid $60 for this, I better bust this thing open. It's like, I paid $30 for a lot of things and I can play it, but if I don't beat it, whatever, no big deal. Does it decentivize you because you didn't have to earn it yourself, Like if you work hard and you're mowing lawns and stuff like that, and you earned that $50 or whatever, and you're buying those shoes, you're probably going to take really good care of those shoes and keep it clean. If you are just gifted 7 shoes per year, there's some that would appreciate it more, depending on who you are, how you're raised, economic situation, etc., and take care of them. But a lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, another shoe," and just not take as good care of it as something that you had to work hard for. Moonlighter 2 will be shown tomorrow. Let's see. Absolutely right. Thank you. Playing Hades last night. Yeah, good for you. Excellent. Excellent. Disney World Vacationer. What's your most anticipated game for the rest of the year on any platform? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Yes, it's coming out in 2025. Yeah, that's the answer. I'm thinking, did I answer too quickly? No, I don't think so. Because Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I'm super stoked on. Ghost of Yote, I'm really hyped for that one. Hades 2, absolutely up there. Hollow Knight Silk Song, assuming it's 2026 still. Yeah, that's there. Kirby Air Riders, I'm stoked because it's been 20 years since we've had one, so that's exciting. Pokemon Legends ZA, yes, but not as much as Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Because I played it. Well, even if I didn't play it at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience a few months back, that would have still been my answer because I've been looking forward to it so long. I love Metroid. I love Samus Aran. It's time to get a new 3D first-person perspective epic Metroid game, whether it has an online versus mode to make it last longer, like a Splatoon-esque ongoing versus mode, or just an epic single-player campaign. I'm hyped either way. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that's it. Let's see. Funny to me that people are seriously upset they won't be able to play a game in 20 years. For some people, I think the future looks more obvious than it does, and they might not realize you're probably not going to be playing every day what you've purchased 20 years ago. I think for some people, it's more of the principle of the matter that I want that tangible ownership. I want to have it constantly available. I still have my old school NES, Super NES, N64, GameCube, Wii, all hooked up. They're all like daisy chained in to the back of the TV, uh, side of the TV, composite cable, more or less. Some of them have, like the stereo output, that kind of thing. But they're all like hooked up constantly. Gosh, what's 20 years ago? 2005? Yeah. I'm not every day, every week, even every month, even necessarily every year picking up my Wii remote and playing some classics, or picking up a GameCube controller on my old systems and playing the classics. I do once in a while, though, as I do once in a while go back to some older NES and 64 Super Nintendo games that I love, but there's so much that's available on uh, Nintendo Switch Online via the NES, SNES, N64, GameCube apps, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, that there's not as great of a need to go back and play the past. Then you could say, yeah, but you're renting them. It would take many, many years of paying $10 a year if you're paying $80 divided by 8, $10 a year, family plan. Or even if you're not splitting it that far, it'd take many years to build up how much would it cost to own all of those games permanently on cartridge or digitally, right? So I think sometimes you're seeing the pie a little bit bigger, and like, oh yeah, I always want to be eating it and stuff like that. In reality, dude, life goes by. You're gonna get older. You're gonna have more responsibilities. You're gonna be playing newer stuff. You might not be as gotta play everything at all times and have access at all times as you thought. I think it's more of a principle of the matter, Let's see. So the only way to preserve key cards is to keep them downloaded. Right now, I think it's so early that that's not necessary. Buy it, download it, delete it. A few months later, download it if you're in the mood for it. A year or two from now, download it, delete it, whatever. But, towards that 8-year mark, depending on how well Nintendo Switch 2 is doing and stuff, and depending on what studios are saying, I don't think game key cards are going anywhere. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing not this much, but a little bit more in terms of raw physical cartridges. Maybe they will, in some capacity, slowly stop supporting some game keycard downloads, but not for another 8 years from now. And if they do, they're going to give enough notice, heads up. So nothing to worry about for now, I don't think at all. But long run, could I say confidently, hey, 25 years from now, on your Nintendo Switch 2, if you stuck in that game key card and did not have it already downloaded because you previously deleted it, never re-downloaded it, would that game key card version of Street Fighter 6 be able to be downloaded? I don't know. But maybe the Nintendo Switch 4 at that point or whatever is going to accept the medium, and the GameCube card will work on that. You're going to have enough time. I don't worry about oh shoot, I can't delete my GameCube cards. It's going to be fine for some time to come. Excuse me. I was hoping Metal Gear Solid Delta would have been announced for Switch 2 by now. Would have loved that portable. Now I'll get it on my PS5, which I haven't played since the Switch 2 release. After watching that Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, my thought was right away, they're leaving out some big ones. They're making some room for some of the other third-party titles, because we got to let everybody have their moment in the sun. We got to let everybody shine. And this way, we could show off some that we haven't done so with yet, and later on in a bigger Nintendo Direct. That's going to be the update to. Here is Bye, Joycey J. Have a good night. Take care. Thank you for stopping by. Later on, we'll see Final Fantasy VII Remake. Later on, we'll see Elden Ring on Nintendo Switch to get an update on the Dusk Bloods, and potentially Metal Gear Solid Delta, right? Uh, so there's still definitely a very good chance that there are more third-party games that are big that make sense to come out that we have not seen yet. Call of Duty, possibly, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Mortal Kombat 1. Time will tell. Let's see. When do I think the Nintendo Direct third phase will be? Pokemon Fan 34. I think September is entirely possible. I think late August is like a week or two from today ish. Yeah, I think we could get two between next week and the middle of September. I think either one big grand Nintendo Direct 47-minute beefy presentation with some first party games, updates, surprises, third party juggernauts, updates, surprises, maybe an indie game or two, and a segment devoted to Mario's 40th anniversary. And in that segment, potentially first look at the Super Mario World movie title, poster, banner, new voice actor list, etc. Or we get a Nintendo Direct, that's still a pretty beefy Nintendo Direct with all the aforementioned, and then they save the Nintendo. Oh, they saved the Super Mario Brothers 40th anniversary direct for some time, like mid September. Hosted live from the Super Mario Brothers pool. That'd be cool. Yeah. Let's see. Pros and cons when it comes to game key cards. Yeah, it does. You have to have an internet connection. Yeah. Yeah. Smaller cartridge size would definitely help out indies because a lot of indie games probably don't need a whole 64 gigabytes. So it's like, oof, do we really eat the cost? Because they're probably not going to release it for $60 either, but you're still going to have to pay the $17, $15, whatever for the cartridge. So a smaller medium as another option would be nice. But we'll see. Game key cards are good if a game doesn't fit on a cartridge. That's true, but now takes a little bit more development time. But if a game can fit this much of it in 64 gigs and they need another 13 to go, hey, you could put some of the versus mode, some of the multiplayer options as a mandatory download. Or this is less desirable, but must download for complete game. Maybe you could play through most of the game and you get to, chapter 13 in Xenoblade Chronicles 4, although this is not going to be a problem. I'm just, saying because Nintendo's not going to go with 64 gigs and fill up that cartridge for Xenoblade Chronicles 4, I don't think. Nintendo's very good at optimizing their hardware, their software, their amount of space, storage used, and all that stuff in games. But let's just say Xenoblade Chronicles 4, massive RPG, 13 chapters in. In order to play the full game, you have to download because chapters 14, 15, 16 didn't fit on the 64 gigs. 13 more gigs were needed to download. Enjoy. That's not too dissimilar than back in the day. You needed 2 discs to have Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation. You needed 2 discs to have Final Fantasy 7, or was that 3? Final Fantasy 8, 3. You needed a couple. Final Fantasy 13 on Xbox 360, you needed 2. On PlayStation 3, you needed 1. You know what I mean? And hey, that's okay. I wouldn't mind that because it would use up less of my space. The beautiful thing is the cartridge is technically limitless. You could make 96 gigabyte carts. They would be expensive, but it would be a thing of beauty. 128 gigabyte cartridge. Woo, that thing is expensive, but you got the whole Call of Duty 2028 edition on one cartridge. No Blu-ray has that. No disc has that on 4K disc for PlayStation 5 or 6 or Xbox Series X or the next Xbox, right? Not practical, but Nintendo's cartridge solution doesn't really have a limit. It's just increasingly more expensive. But yeah, ideally everything fits on the 64, and if it doesn't, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, Split Fiction 64 were on a cart. I paid 60 for it instead of the 50 I paid, so I would have paid $10 more. And hey, you have to download the other 13, Paul, because it's a 77 gigabyte game or 76 gigabyte game. So there are 12 you have to download. Whatever. Upper Nimbus. Hey, Paul. Hope you're doing well, my man. Thank you. Hope you're doing well too. Let's see. Godito Z. Hi, Paul. What's the game you are most looking forward to tomorrow? Hades 2. I would like a release date. I would really like a shadow drop. If that game just came out tomorrow, that'd be really sweet. Let's see what else we got. I think downloading the latter part of the game is going to start needing to be a necessity with the way games keep getting spoiled. Yeah. That's a good possibility also, to the benefit of not having all the game on one cartridge. You could say, what do you mean a benefit? I want all my game on one cartridge. What if the internet dies out? What if this servers crash? But initially, yeah, here you have the game on the cartridge, but you can't get the ending on some of these games until Nintendo releases that day one thing. So that means if some store, if some mom and pop shop or a bigger retailer releases this game early, yeah, you can buy it, but no one will be able to spoil at least the ending, at least the big grand finale, because they would have to download it. Still, they could spoil it because people will be people on day one when Nintendo releases the download day one patch. But yeah, that is a way that wouldn't happen at least a couple weeks prior, right? Want to get back, but it's hard after a year. I wonder what game are you talking about? Maybe I'll find out when I scroll up. But you're not talking to me, so that's okay. Good. I'm glad you're all talking to each other. That's nice too. It's nice to see this. Some questions are geared towards me, but some questions are to one another, so that's cool. Oh, I think you're talking about Hollow Knight, the first one, right? Next Thursday, Mario Direct. Following is Kirby after that Direct, just like a boom, 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 boom. All these Directs, right? Probably Phase 3 is going to happen after Gamescom, though. Let's say the Gamescom dates go from August 20th to August 24th. That's in 2 weeks. Nintendo's going to be at a few events within these next several weeks. Good. Cool. Robbie Reigns 1. Do I expect a Mario 40th Direct? Yes, I do. I'll clarify that. I expect either a Super Mario Brothers 40th Anniversary Direct or a significant chunk of the next Nintendo Direct to have a Super Mario Brothers celebration section in it. And that would have like Super Mario Galaxy 2 Remastered bundled with Super Mario 3D Land HD on one cartridge for $60, announcing we're bringing back Super Mario 3D All-Stars for Nintendo Switch and Super Mario 3D All-Stars Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And the latter, let's see, brings each game into 4K. Each game, including Super Mario 64, into 16:9 widescreen. And if you bought the original, you could just pay for the update. If you bought the original and don't want to pay for the update, you'll still experience a little bit better optimization. Or you could buy the new one, boom, just like that. Also show off a teaser of the new movie, whether it's a trailer, the voice acting cast, have some of the cast come out, like have Chris Pratt come out. Gosh, it would be awesome to, give Charles Martinet that role as Mario Luigi's dad again, or Giuseppe again. And then show off Mario Kart World DLC something or other, like a Gold Mario, Silver Mario, available now as a little nugget there. Maybe you do Super Mario Brothers 40 as like a revamped Super Mario Brothers 35 and have it available for another 6 months. And then maybe you finish off with, here is a look at a game that needs a little bit more time, but please enjoy. And it's the brand new 3D Super Mario game that we're all so stoked for after seeing how beautiful Zelda turned out. I mean, Donkey Kong. Oh man, that'd be awesome. Tater Salad. Hello there. Nintendo's All Stars. I'm glad that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is coming to Nintendo Switch 2. Yeah. I want to see the Nintendo Switch version. I'm very curious. How's that game going to look on that system? Because it's a pretty dynamic game with a lot of graphics, a lot of moving parts, fairly sophisticated. The Nintendo Switch 2 version looks really nice. Wait, did they show off the Nintendo Switch version at all? I don't know. NS2 one looks good, though. So I want to be like Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Steam Deck, Xbox Series S. See them all. Watch them all. And you would probably say, dang, they all look competent. Which one's the best? Ooh, maybe this one by a little bit, like nitpicking, but like I think that game's gonna look and run just fine on Nintendo Switch 2, and will probably be like a locked 30 on Nintendo Switch, or aim for that. After this indie event, are we going to have any shadow drops? Yes. Without knowing, like, for sure, like, yep, you heard it here first. No, in my opinion, very likely that tomorrow afternoon, by then, we will get something. How is Luigi's Mansion? That catches my eye all the time, but I never seemed to go for the purchase. Whether it's the first Luigi or the second, I never played them. Oh my gosh. If you're new to Luigi's Mansion, here's the hard thing. I think the best one is Luigi's Mansion 3. So that's the one that I would recommend you play because I think it's the best. Best visuals, most fun gameplay, most amount going on in the environment. A really cool 2-player mode. My kids were Gooigi throughout that experience with me. And then on their files, like I said, someone would play as Gooigi, and Luigi's Mansion 3 is just so good. But I like the first one a lot. I like the second one a lot, Dark Moon. So I think you can't go wrong with any of them. You probably should play it in order, not so much for story, but like for appreciation of where the series is now, where it was when it started, and the trajectory of how it got to where we are now. Mr. Black, hello there. Let's see. Welcome. Glad you're here. No, it's okay if you didn't play Luigi's Mansion. I know people that, dang, long-time Nintendo fan, never played a Metroid game. What? Big Nintendo fan, love Mario and Zelda. Yeah, Splatoon. Yeah, never played a Star Fox. Huh? There are certain franchises that I cannot think I would have never missed that. But I'm sure there are some that you're like, are you serious, Paul? You never played this game? Yeah. Same thing with movies, right? How many people know that one person that has never seen a Star Wars film or missed out on Back to the Future? Really? Yeah, that's okay. It's all good. But Luigi's Mansion, definitely recommend any of them. Got the tag. It's all good. I'm trying to read the comments. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the likes too. I think I have more likes than total current watchers. There are more likes than current watchers, which means that some people left, but before they left, they had a good enough time that they hit the like button. So thank you. Super late? No, it's okay. This was sort of an impromptu. You know what? I'm gonna hop on and do some gaming talk. Gonna be fun. Galaxy 2 and Mario 64 DS is all I'd like to see for the 40th. Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, good point. In my scenario, I put Super Mario Galaxy 2 remastered, like Metroid Prime style, and uh, Super Mario 3D Land HD. I guess you could throw in Super Mario 64 DS edition, and then that would be a nice three. Make it pretty worth $60, especially if one of those three, like I said, Super Mario Galaxy 2 remastered, if it was given that Metroid Prime remastered treatment, where it looked like significantly better, and then better yet on Nintendo Switch 2, because this would be on both systems. Now, it wouldn't look as good as Donkey Kong Bonanza, but that's a very, very top tier Mario game that probably a lot of people haven't played because it's only been released on Wii and it came out in like 2010 or so. That, oof, 15 years later, that would satisfy people in between Super Mario Odyssey and whatever Mario's next big 3D outing is. I bought Mario 3D All Stars, but decided you wanted Mario Party, so that's what you did. Wish you didn't do that. Didn't know it'd be discontinued. Yeah. Like you can still buy 3D All Stars, but you're paying a good amount more than the 60. If you want to feel better about it, though, you could say in some ways it's worth 160 because Super Mario 64 originally came out for 60. Super Mario Sunshine originally came out for 50, and Super Mario Galaxy originally came out for 50. So that's $160 that you would have had to pay throughout the years from 1996 to 2002 to 2007 anyways. And if you never bought them originally, you have $160 worth of games at their old prices for $160 in 2025 economy, in which you're making more per hour minimum wages up than it was then. So I know that's not the best way to look at it, but sometimes you need to rework the thought process to make yourself feel a little bit better for a seemingly unnecessary purchase. But yeah, if you never owned any of the games, I guess you could say 160 would be what they cost you originally, even if they're older, they're new for you. Let's see. I think I'm caught up on those. Silk Song on Indie. It's been so long that sometimes I'm honestly like, you know what? No, not going to be here. I don't think it's time yet. There have been a couple of times over the years I've been like, I think I might be here tomorrow. More often than not, I've been right in saying, I don't think it's going to be here then. Yeah, I think tomorrow might be the day. And with tomorrow, well, here's going to be the time to add one more to the wrong book. Watch. I'd be happy if I was wrong. I don't think it's going to be there tomorrow, even though we're further and further along. So it means we're probably closer and closer to getting it, right? Not going backwards in time. But I think it's going to show up under Xbox's umbrella first in this, revisit of it. So I'll say no to Silksong tomorrow, but watch it be there. Hey, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be really cool. And a Shadow Drop too? Probably not. Tall Show, hello. Will y'all be jotting down the titles in Indie World that were first shown in Indie Mania? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Indie Mania, the indie event of the summer that had a good amount of stuff there. But yeah, final word, Silk Song. I don't think Hollow Knight's sequel is going to be shown tomorrow. And if I'm not mistaken, Zach said it's not also. Whether he knows it's not or is like me and is like, I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't know for sure. You know, his original source on it, me fun way speculating on it. Oh man, tater salad, Metroid Prime 4 release date. That's a mystery. That's a mystery to me and to everyone. Announced so long ago. Announced that it's been rebooted so long ago. Shown off back in June of last year as a coming in 2025 on Nintendo Switch. A part of the presentation for Nintendo Switch 2. Playable back in spring on Nintendo Switch 2. Continuously reconfirmed that it's coming in 2025. We're in August. Here's December. The timeline is starting to shrink, although there's still several months left, so that's fine. But my point is here, if we don't get it soon, we might not get Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3. I don't think it's crucial to the plan. It would have been nice. I think it might have been nicer spreading them out. Metroid Prime 1, 2, 3, 4. Not to bore people out on Metroid Prime, to make Metroid Prime 4 big and powerful and exciting, not to give too much of one thing on one system. But if you span it out over the two generations, maybe it wouldn't be too much, or maybe it would. And maybe Nintendo wants to be like, this is unlike anything that most people have ever played before, Metroid Prime 4. And then later on, do here's 2 and 3. If it's not like crucial to the story, play it, you know? Or they do like 2 and 3, some shadow drops or something, little bundle, HD port like Pikmin 1 and 2, or a remastered version of one or both of them. I don't know. But yeah, the lack of news officially on Metroid Prime 4's release date is an odd one. I think it could be like a November 18th type of title. You know, Metroid has released previously, Metroid Prime, in that mid-November spot, so we'll see. Because that's the one that like, oh, I can't wait. Yeah, Air Riders. Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond was rated recently. Ratings board gave it a go. Not the ESRB, but still, ratings board is on top, which means it's got to be like 95%. No hidden surprises in the game, like heavy alcohol references in the final chapter that wasn't quite done yet, or we're going to throw in this boss fight with copious amounts of blood or gore or foul language in the third act, in which not all the lines of dialogue have been recorded. Like nothing like that's going to happen. The game is rated. It's almost done. Oh, Streets of Rage 5. Yeah, that would be cool. Streets of Rage 4 was really good. I enjoyed beat 'em ups from yesteryear. Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Double Dragon, Battletoads. And we've been pretty lucky lately with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, both the Cowabunga collection, which I have behind me, the collector's edition right in there, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Rita's Revenge. Yeah, Streets of Rage 5. That'd be pretty dope to get. Oh, and then not really beat 'em ups, action 2D platformers, but that Shinobi demo that I played, oh, that was cool. And totally unrelated, but I played the Adventures of Elliot demo, and that was really cool too. Capcom, or not Capcom. Oh, I'm usually saying Capcom and Marvel in the same sentence, but Marvel has their superhero beat 'em up coming up soon. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. That looks good. Oh, Metroid movie. Yes, please. Should we do super chats for Peach? Should we do super chats to bring Peach out here? Maybe we do that for Peach. I'll bring Peach back with some snacks. Can't catch the direct tomorrow morning. Yeah, if you could avoid the internet for a little bit, then you could watch it live later on and not get spoiled and have fun. Racing game of two, platformers or fighters, not just farming sims. Yeah, chances are farming sim will be there. It'll probably be mm, at least one. Animal Crossing movie. A Metroid movie would be terrific, though. I still have my old school film reel. It's about this thick, and it's of the live action, high quality, theatrical trailer commercial of Metroid Prime for Nintendo GameCube. Because I got it when I was working at the movie theater way back in 2002. Yeah, that's cool. It'd be really neat to convert it somehow into like a 4K digital file uploaded on YouTube. I don't think that exists. I think I'd be the only one in the world that could be able to upload that. Michael Gutmann, that Samus Aran figure that you see there, oh, that beautiful thing, that's from First Four Figures. I have a smaller one. This one used to be in my living room, and I decided to put it here. And then I got a smaller one from First Four Figures also, and then that one's in the living room now. Back in the day, I was a really big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I was convinced, dang, Sarah Michelle Gellar, she was my idea for Samus Aran back then. Peach, Peach. Want to say hi? Come here, Peach. Say hi. Peach, come here. I say hi. People want to say hi. Oh, come here, Peach. You say hi? Okay, here's Peach. I'm going to end the stream soon, but I am ending it with the popular lady of the hour, Peach. Peach, what do you want to say? What do you want to say about tomorrow's presentation? Whoa. She just let out something big that's dropping tomorrow. I can't wait. Wow. Hey, Mr. Black. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar. She was recently in the Dexter prequel, so it was really cool seeing her again. But yeah, back in the day, that was my Samus Aran in my mind. These days, unless they go with some unknown actress, which there's plenty of people out there that could do it well. When I was watching Captain Marvel, and Brie Larson was literally walking down the corridors of the ship, sci-fi, alien corridors, circular tunnels, had those clasps on her arms to limit her from shooting her powers, sneaking around. I was like, dude, she's Samus Aran. She cosplayed as a Samus. I met her back in 2023 at the Super Mario Brothers, Super Nintendo World red carpet premiere. And that was neat. So I think she would make a good Samus Aran, unless if they want to go with somebody kind of unknown, you know? Yeah, I'm going to close out the stream soon. Gotta work tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm glad you liked Peach. I'm glad that you got to see her for a little bit. What about the actress from Japan's Metro Zero Mission commercial? Yeah, I remember that. Oh, I thought there was something else that I was like, I can answer that. Oh, Iron Man or Iron Heart. I'm not as well versed in Iron Heart, the character. I grew up with Iron Man, prior. I've seen more of that character's actions, read more of that character's comics and stuff like that. So I would say I'm a bigger Iron Man fan than Iron Heart, but I am looking forward to the series. I actually haven't started watching it yet, but I would like to become a bigger fan because I love all of this stuff. I love all superhero stuff. Mm, I'm hoping that Bonanza sells at least 11 million, but I think that sucker deserves 20 million. It's such a fantastic game. 11 million would put it right in between Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Luigi's Mansion 3. And I think that sounds about right for Donkey Kong Bonanza as something safe. 11 million. But like I said, I'd love it to hit 20 million. Awesome Powerpuff Girls t-shirt. Yep, my daughter picked this one out for me. I think it says, what does it say? Yeah, the Powerpuff Girls at the very bottom. That's pretty fun. Alrighty, everybody. Well, that was an hour and 16 minutes from not having the plan to do so today to having a good time and talking with, let's see, no less than 22 of you, because that's how many likes there are. So maybe there was more. Maybe there were more throughout the hour, 17 minutes, and that's just how many people liked it. I don't know. But at least 22 of you. So thank you for the likes. Uh, and if you didn't like it, then that's okay too. I appreciate you just being here and tuning in for a little bit of game talk. Here's to tomorrow. 23 likes. Let's go. Boom. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the streams tonight. 24. See, that's going up. I like it. Nice. You got Nintendo Prime's podcast, which will be starting in like 14 minutes or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, you've got some good content coming up tonight. Player Essence, OJ is streaming too. So you got some OJ, you got some Nate, and you got a podcast. All right, take care, everybody. Have fun. Bye.